Hey everyone, you made it to our show, Oak Road Diaries. It's a podcast where we get to take a journey into the lives of different experts and we get to explore their roots and their own self-care practices.
In each episode, we dive deep into their personal philosophies, daily rituals, and transformative experiences from their lives, which offer all of us valuable insights and practical tips for our own well-being.
Join us as we uncover the wisdom behind intentional living, one story at a time. Today we're joined by Whitney Sankovsky, founder of Mama Aura Wellness, where she helps parents reconnect with themselves through holistic wellness, intentional living, and conscious parenting.
In this conversation, Whitney shares her journey into building Mama Aura Wellness and how her experiences shape the way she approaches self-care, healing, and family life. We expand the lens beyond motherhood, exploring how both mothers and fathers can show up more intentionally, not just for their children, but for themselves.
This episode is about creating a strong foundation at home, understanding that when parents take care of themselves, it impacts everything around them.
So take a deep breath, settle in, and join us. This is where the story begins.
It doesn't matter what strategy you try to give the family, or the parents and babies need to be connected, and I need to be connected. We all need to be connected. That's really the foundation for which learning can occur.
Whitney Sankovsky with Mama Aura Wellness, welcome to Oak Road Diaries. We're excited to have you on our show and excited to hear more about being a better parent and just hearing some different practical tools that we can take into our everyday lives with our little ones. So we'd like to just start off just by, introducing yourself, telling us who you are and how do we connect?
Sure. Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me. My name is Whitney, and I have a little business called Mama Aura Wellness. And so my journey towards Mama Aura Wellness, I have been a elementary school teacher. I have worked in early intervention. I've taught English classes in Vietnam. I've worked for the Santa Monica Malibu Unified School District in California. I have helped open an international school in Costa Rica. And so I have had many different experiences in education that kind of have all led me to creating my business.
I want to go back to the roots, like early Whitney, right? The
Yeah.
early Whitney, so you grew up, your hometown, where did you grow up again? Your hometown is?
My hometown is Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. So I am born and raised, and I have found my way back to my roots.
That's a lot of traveling.
Did you go to
find your way
Freedom?
back to the Lehigh Valley here?
Yeah, real
Yes.
quick for Whitney, did you go to Freedom?
I did not. No, I went to Salisbury. I went to
Okay.
Salisbury High School,
Okay.
Salisbury School District, and I'm from the area. And I grew up here. I loved living here. When it was time to go away to college, I went to Westchester University. So that was
Nice.
kind of my first taste away from home.
She got
And
the little drop of it, Jared. I've yet to leave the Lehigh Valley, so I still live in here. I never went out. Of course, I explored the world to a degree, like on vacations, but nothing like living and experiencing like that. So definitely envious and jealous of that. But everyone's got their own
going to
journeys.
college was my first taste of like freedom and like being able to like live somewhere different and make connections with different people. And then from there, that was all I had wanted to do was to travel and have different experiences and meet different people and see the world. And
So you did elementary
with
ed?
teaching.
Is that what you did?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, what was that?
You got your degree in elementary ed?
Yeah, yes, elementary education and special education.
Nice. So when you were growing up here in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, because Jared and I, it's rare. Number one, I think you're our first guest local to our actual area. We had one guest that was, in Pennsylvania, but all the other ones have been around the world and in countries. So this is really cool to be able to meet some local people to where we're at, where we can actually relate to you.
Yeah.
There's a lot of teaching, right? There's a lot of schools around us that have early education and just
Mhm.
education tracks in Pennsylvania. So was
Yeah.
that your track of, I want to teach, I want to develop these kids?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I had always kind of had a maternal instinct since I was, little. I was the person who everyone called when they need a babysitter.
Snap.
That
All right. What's your number, Whitney? We need some babysitters.
I'll give it to you at the end. Let me know. Um, yeah, so that was kind of always my path. It was always very clear. I had never really considered anything other than working with children, and so that was always kind of ingrained in me since I was younger. So it was very natural for me to go to school for education. I knew I wanted to work in early childhood with those degrees, and so
Yeah.
that kind of led me to elementary education. And from there, I kind of honed in a little bit more on, what I was resonating with, and that was working in early intervention, which is working with families who have children that might be at risk or may have some sort of developmental delay and
Mm.
are like from birth to 5. So like in that age range.
So is that, are
With having
you,
little ones ourselves, Jared, did you go any of your kids ever have to go through early intervention of any kind?
um, not quite, but we've got some friends, I would imagine work with a lot of like autistic individuals. Is that
Hmm.
largely what you work with, Whitney? I'm just making an assumption.
Yeah. Yeah, it could be anything from like a speech and language delay. It could be a child who was maybe just premature or maybe had some like have some health risks or had like a traumatic birth, and maybe they're just a little bit delayed
Okay.
in that aspect. It could be, yeah, a child who's on the spectrum. It could be an orthopedic impairment, like a visual impairment. There's so many
So much, yeah.
yeah, there's so much, and that's why I think early intervention is so great, is because it just really serves like a wide variety of challenges, and it's great
Sure.
it's not just for the children. It's
Yeah.
support for the parents, which is huge,
Yeah.
Yeah, I
and
think that was
that's
huge. I think that's the biggest
yeah.
thing, right? Because you hear on airplanes all the time about you wanna protect yourself first or take care of yourself first, and parents that don't have tools, like,
Hmm.
this is our first time raising our child, especially one that has, potential needs. I
Yeah.
don't know what to do. What am I don't have any tools, so who do I go to? I go to Google or some
Yeah.
search engine to ask what are my answers. Having taken both of my kids, actually, that's how we connected. My wife went to one of the chiropractic. You're in association with one of the chiropractors here, right?
Mhm.
Dr. Leah, I believe.
Yes.
Um, and she said you were amazing. It was amazing just to see the kids, how they're interacting and just learning different ways of how to manipulate your kids' bodies on helping their
Hmm.
digestive system.
Hmm.
In addition, just understanding their skeletal system, how that can affect how they're behaving, and just the mind was, at least for me, because I'm super curious individual, and especially in the modern day dad, we want to be involved, but we don't
Hmm.
have the tools. Many of us are just we're trying to develop our own stuff of patience,
Yeah.
and when you have a screaming kid on you, that it's a recurring circle of we don't know what to do. We need help,
Yeah.
and that's why when we go and search, especially for the dads, we see a lot of things very much geared towards mothers. Now you could
Yes.
take the same language. Men, I'm just gonna make a huge wide net. Men may not think very deeply. If they see motherhood, they're not gonna say, "Oh, I can take this same tool. I'm just gonna put it fatherhood."
Yeah.
They perhaps are very closed-minded in that type of critical thinking. I'm just putting a huge net in there, right?
Hmm.
Not everybody would look at that. For me, I see motherhood, doesn't really matter if it says motherhood or fatherhood. I see a good skill or a tool, I'm gonna implement that into my kid's life. Um, so we wanted to ask you on the show, as far as what Mama Aura Wellness does,
Hmm.
give us a little rundown on your life. You did early development.
Hmm.
Um, you're teaching these families and these kids Mama Aura Wellness. Talk to
Hmm.
us about that.
Sorry, I'm sorry, just real quick. I want to get a little more of the story, the background, because if we jump right
Yeah.
into
Okay.
Mama Aura, just we left Westchester, right?
Yeah.
And then you found your way back to the Lehigh Valley. Let's
Hmm.
get the story in between, if you don't mind,
Sure.
because
So
that's the
yes,
journey, right? We talk about the journey here.
yes, that is the journey, and looking back, that journey has really everything that I've done, so far up until now has really all been such a critical piece of like the puzzle and the business. So um after I came back, I started working here, and I was working for I think about 4 years here in the Lehigh Valley, and I loved it and it was great. But I had kind of wanted to spread my wings a little bit, and so I decided that I was going to move to Southern California. I had always wanted to live by the beach. I'm very active, and
Nice.
so I honestly, I just went online. It felt right. I went online, I started applying for jobs. I ended up getting a job working with the Santa Monica Malibu Unified School District, in early
Cool.
intervention, which is my kind of my niche.
So win-win right there. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I was kind of spearheading, like, that program for them, and, I had loved living there. I was getting more and more into, like, holistic health, like, alternative medicine. There was a lot more exposure there than there was here in the Lehigh Valley, and
Mm,
that was something that always, like, kind of interested me as well. Like, I was always, curious about things I didn't know, I didn't have a lot of information about, so I was always kind of exploring. I was doing yoga on like a regular basis, and so I was just kind of getting like further and further into that world as well. And
Yeah.
then after I was there for I think it was about 5 years, I had gone on vacation in Costa Rica, and just by chance, while I was there, they were opening a school. And I had connected with someone who was opening a school, and I was
that's
telling them
fantastic.
about my experience. And she was like, "Hey, do you want a job? Like, we're opening the school in 2 weeks. Like, if you,"
Holy crap.
yeah. And so
Did it put you up? Did
I
you
had
put they
always,
put you up to live or
I'd
anything?
always, what was that?
Did they put you up, like, when there's like, "Hey, come here," like, did they say, "Hey, we got a place for you to live and everything,"
No.
or was it
No, they did not.
Oh my gosh.
just
They
like your
did
normal?
not.
Okay. Sorry, keep going, I
But
apologize.
I had always kind of been, like, very heart-led. So, like, if an idea or, like, something comes to me and I'm like, "Oh, this really resonates with me," like, even if I don't have it all figured out, like, I just go for it. And I've done that so many
Cool.
times in my life, like, just I I had owned a home here in the Lehigh Valley before I moved to California, and I was just like, "I'm gonna move. I'm gonna sell my house," and I just did it, and I went. And then the
That's
same thing
awesome.
kinda happened. Like, she was like, "You have to be here in 2 weeks," and I flew back home, or back to California, and I called my parents. I said, "Hey, I think I'm gonna do this. It sounds really crazy, but I have 2 weeks to move out of my apartment, move abroad, find somewhere to live, and I'm gonna start this new job." And I did.
I mean, it takes a lot of courage to do that. Jared and I were just talking about him.
Yeah.
He's bounced around a couple times. It's I mean, just the move itself from one state to the next or one town to the next is an endeavor. So throw kids
Yes.
on top of that. Whitney, we're not sure if you have kids yourself or
I
not, but at the time, did you have kids?
No, no, I did not, no, I do not.
Okay. Made things a little bit easier for that
Yeah.
decision, right?
Yeah, I mean, I thought, like, the worst case scenarios is I'll just come back home if it doesn't work
Yeah.
out. Like,
Heck yeah.
I
So
just gotta
how
I
did
just
it, man, how'd you get out of your apartment? You found somebody else to lease it?
I did not. I did not find someone else to lease it right away. I actually ended up paying for it for a few more months,
Okay.
even though I was not living there till we were able to find someone to take over. It just everything had happened so fast, but I was just kind of like trusting that in the end it was all going to work out.
Uh-huh.
And it
That's awesome.
did, and it
It
did,
did,
it
yeah.
did, it did. So I ended up, yeah, I moved to Costa Rica. I was, a part of this school that was opening there, and, what I loved about the school was that it is like a project-based learning school, so
Nice.
it's not super
Montessori type?
traditional. Yes, everything's, like, very hands-on, it's very, like, child-guided, and, a lot of, like, big pieces of na pulling in, like, pieces of nature, like, having classes outside,
Hmm.
Oh yeah.
a lot of, like, investigative work, and I just for me, that's something that had really, again, resonated with me, pulling in, like, that
Yeah.
natural piece of learning, and yeah, it was amazing, and I had lived and taught there through COVID,
Oh wow.
and so
So
that
I'm
was another
sorry. I just wanna
experience.
I wanna expound on that a little bit. So when you're
Yeah.
down there, it's a holistic. It doesn't surprise me at all to hear this, right? Because
Right.
you my my family and I, years ago, we started eating a plant-based diet, and we were vegan for like
Mhm.
almost a decade.
Mhm.
And with that comes everything you're talking about, right? Holistic approach of life, and that's in all its forms. Education being one of them. Montessori
Mhm.
principles were really important to us.
Mhm.
Kind of child-led learning, even with the eating, it was like child-led weaning, right? It was all that stuff.
Yeah.
So when
Yeah.
you were there, it sounds like that's what it was. It was really more kind of Montessori project-based learning, right? Or did they not dub it Montessori necessarily?
Yes, we didn't really use the word Montessori, but it definitely has a lot of like the same principles. And yeah, it's child-led learning, which I think is beautiful. I mean, children are so naturally curious and
Oh
inquisitive
yeah.
and want to learn. And it's like, why should we like stifle that, right? Like
Right.
if they're opening the door to wanting to learn more about, this or that, like let's take it and let's run with it, because the interest is going to be so much higher than if we put something in front of them and say, here, this is what you have to learn. Like
For
it's
sure. Yeah, even my
yeah.
10-year-old, he's even noticed, he's like, I don't wanna sit here. I don't wanna sit here and learn, like, this stuff,
I
and I'm like,
know.
"I don't know what to tell you, man, like, you're stuck you're stuck
They want to get up and
in
do
this
something.
position." We don't have a lot of options here
Yeah.
specific to the Lehigh Valley, right? Lehigh Valley, like you
Correct.
said, we don't have a lot of exposure. We're not as progressive when it
Yes.
comes to the holistic world of things. We're getting
Mhm.
better. We're getting more people like you and Dr.
Yeah.
Leah, and there's a school system in here called 7 Generations, like, it's
Mhm.
Mhm.
more, project-based as well, and, we're trying, but there's so many other parts
Yeah.
in the world, or even just in our little country here, of
Yeah.
just such closed. I hate to put the label of closed minded on it. Just maybe not as closed exposure, or just
Yeah,
exposure
I think
to this type of
exposure
world.
yeah, I think this exposure is probably the right word, yeah. I think
Right.
Mm.
exposure
And
is the
maybe
right
obviously
word.
people in San Francisco, if they're not doing it, then, or in California, then that's not the exposure issue. It's going to be, we don't want to do it kind of thing.
Yeah.
So
What?
Mhm.
you're down in Costa Rica.
Mhm.
So this is
Yeah.
during the heat of COVID, like right in the beginning of
Yes.
COVID, about 6 years
Yes.
ago.
Mhm.
Okay.
And you did
Mhm.
this for how
And
many
what
years?
Yeah.
I was in Costa Rica for 4 years, and I taught at the
Incredible.
school for 2 of those years. I was down in the heat of COVID, and,
Nice.
by the end of that, I we were doing online learning,
I was gonna ask,
unfortunately.
what was the schooling like in a different country like that? In like
Yeah, it was
Costa
Um,
Rica like that,
during
right?
COVID, and it was online learning, which of course removes everything we just talked about, right?
Yep.
correct,
The whole hands-on
correct.
experience and everything. So go ahead. Yeah.
That is correct, and it was really, we had to follow the guidelines set by, the country,
Yep.
and that was kind of like what it was. And so we had to be online for a certain amount of time. I think we were able to go back in person a lot sooner than a lot of other, I think,
Okay.
sooner than the US, but it was really hard. It was really hard. I just found that it wasn't appropriate for kids, especially young kids. I was working with like 4 and 5-year-olds, and so it wasn't appropriate, like,
You're talking
developmentally.
about the cyber aspect,
Correct, the
right?
cyber learning, like, I was tired, like, I felt like I had to perform just to
Mm,
keep them engaged, because obviously it's not natural for them to sit and stare at a
right.
screen for 6 hours a day.
Sure.
And, trying to get creative, like, how can I, like, pull in, like, movement and, like, natural learning when we're stuck inside on a computer? And
Dang.
so I really struggled with that, and at the end of COVID, kind of towards the end, I decided that I needed to, take a break from
Okay.
from
You just
teaching.
felt like
Yeah.
so much of your energy was being expended throughout it each day? Like
Yeah.
just
Oh,
the
Not
I
e
felt
not
like an
getting
an a an actress.
Mm,
I had to go above and beyond to just kind of to try to keep, the attention,
mm.
at the
That's interesting you say that, because that translates into a lot of things at times. You said you feel like an actress. I feel the same way
Mhm.
in my own current in work environment, where you have to put on this customer service. You feel like an actor, and this
Yeah.
isn't who I am. Like, I just want to be my normal self, and you can't be, or I want to be my normal instruction. That's usually the signal of, okay, I think it's time.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think it's time, either for
Yeah.
you as your soul, you need to move on, start building in your systems to find something else that you're moving on to occupationally, or
Mhm.
perhaps if you're learning something and it's a struggle and you're past it and you're like, it's not working, it's struggling, it's struggling, it's struggling. Perhaps you need to look into something else. Um,
Mhm.
so after that struggle of 4 years in Costa Rica, huge learning experience. I mean, that's awesome. That
Yeah.
slingshot you into doing what next?
And that's when I decided to start hosting my own classes in the community. So that's kind of where this is where Mama Oral Wellness started to peek its head out
Nice.
because
Okay.
Yeah, why'd you come back though?
um
Something's
You're in
peaking.
Costa Rica. Hold on a second. I'm sorry,
yeah
Whitney. You're in
yeah
Southern California beach. You're in
yeah
Costa Rica, like much better than Southern California beach,
yeah
and then you
yep
come back to the Lehigh Valley.
yeah I
Why?
know
Usually
No,
it's the
trust me.
opposite, right?
Listen, I'm not.
yeah
I'm. There's no judgment here. I can't even tell you the things that I've
Yeah.
done. But tell me why. What happened from
yeah
Costa Rica to Lehigh Valley? Why'd that happen?
Mm.
so um I had I had ended a relationship. So I think sometimes a lot of times heartbreak is like a catapult to something else, right?
Oh yeah,
So,
yeah, for sure.
that had happened and I really wanted to like grow my business and I felt like there were some like limitations um like living where I was. I thought felt like there were some limitations and I just noticed like that I'm getting older, my family's getting older and I wanted to be able to like share more time and more experience with them. And
Mm.
so it just kind of felt like the next natural step was to move back
Yeah.
to
In this area, we spoke it before. Lehigh Valley is hurting in this area, right? With this
yeah.
time of early development and holistic approach to life. Jared, you said it really
Yeah.
well there, man. Just a holistic approach to life. We have so many
Mhm.
things around us. Like we have a
Yeah.
lot of natural parks. We have all this nature. That's one thing that we can add into holistic. We talk about that, and one of our pillars with the environmental pillar. We're
Yeah.
fortunate to live in a very versatile environment of
Mhm.
being able to do certain things. So
Yeah.
with Mama Aura Wellness, so you
Mhm.
started doing community events, small little pop up shops of things.
Correct.
What did
Yeah.
that look like? What was your first couple things that you got out and did?
Okay. So I decided I was going to host my first I wanted to do a class that brought parents and babies together cuz that's kind of always been like,
Yeah.
that's part of like early intervention supporting parents, supporting babies. And so I decided that I was going to host a community class in Costa Rica. There was nothing like this even though it is very holistic and there's like a alternative medicine and like alternative education like there's a lot of opportunities there. There's not
Mm,
really anything for parents and babies. Like
mm.
there was nothing like this at that time. And so I decided to host my first class. It was an infant massage class.
That's so cool.
And so um yeah, so while I was teaching, I was also like exploring different avenues that were interesting to me, one of which was infant massage. So I had gotten my certification in infant massage, and I decided, I'm going to go and I'm going to host this class for my community, and I'm going to teach parents how to do massage with their babies because
Awesome.
there's just so many benefits. And I think maybe
Oh
like
yeah.
two people showed up to my first class. So,
Okay. It's
you know,
always what we hear, right? The first couple, you're like, all
yeah,
right, I'm talking to
yeah.
myself today.
Yeah,
That's all
but
right.
I had gotten really positive feedback, and so I was like, I just wanna keep doing this. I loved it. I felt like it could make a big impact, like, almost bigger than what I had been doing when I was working for, like, the schools or school system,
Mm, mm.
because I had, like, more control over what I, was doing, and something that became, like, really clear through working in early intervention was that, like, it doesn't matter like what strategy you try to give the family or what you want how you want to work with the child, like before you can even do any of that, like you need to be connected, and like the
Mm,
parents and babies need to be connected, and like I need to be connected, like we all need to be connected. That's really the
for sure.
foundation for which learning can occur. And like um and
Absolutely.
so connection, yeah, so connection really became like the like root of like all of the classes that I now host. And so
Mm.
um teaching like infant massage, I also do what I call baby yoga. And baby yoga is like
It's fascinating.
It's a lot of like really great like stretches that you can do to help baby unwind and release tension in their body. Um,
Oh, that's awesome. I think that's like a
yeah,
good icebreaker for the dads out there, right? I talk to
yeah,
people
Mhm.
like dudes, I hate to even bring the gender aspect, but I think the reality is that women do more of this holistic stuff. Women do more yoga, women do more stretching.
yeah,
Men are like, oh, I weight lift. I only deal with the upper body, and I eat nothing but steak. Like, just
yeah.
it is a mission of mine to try to bring the equality when it comes to this, especially with
Hmm.
parenthood. Um, I think it's a great icebreaker with the baby yoga because men don't know anything,
It
right? I'm
is.
gonna put
Yeah.
this typical male in the box right here. I don't feel comfortable going to yoga classes. My wife is getting me involved into, baby yoga. All right, I'll go. It's for my kid. I'll go do it. So
Yeah.
perhaps that's a really cool icebreaker to like, all right, this is fun. The kid enjoyed it. I could do a couple
Yeah.
stretches. Let me try doing this at home. Like it's an amazing thing.
Yes, it is. I actually get really excited when fathers come to my classes, and sometimes, sometimes it's just mom. Sometimes mom and dad come together with baby, and then
Okay.
sometimes like it's just dad. And I love it. I love when fathers come to classes because I think that it gives them an opportunity to like be with their infant one on one. It gives them an
Yeah.
opportunity to like learn some tools that they can use to help like comfort and soothe baby, but also help baby feel like better in their body, like doing the massage and the stretches.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, and so that can be just that's a really powerful connection point for fathers who may not feel as connected as mom does.
Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Oak Road Diaries. We really appreciate you, and we really, really do hope that it added even the tiniest bit of value to your life.
If you felt that the conversation resonated with you, we invite you to share it because you really never know who needs to hear this today.
You can find more tools for intentional living and the 7 pillars of transformation at thehappyatrium.com or connect with us on our socials at thehappyatrium. We'd love to see and interact with you there.
Until next time, keep tending to your inner child, one breath, one step, and one story at a time.
Take care, and we'll see you down the road.